At Dunmore, the Bucks had a 15-8 halftime lead, but West Scranton struck quickly. On the second half kickoff, Brian Fahey fields the ball at the 17-yard line, heads straight up the middle of the field, will break through the pack and into the open. He will win the foot race to the end zone for an 87-yard touchdown and a 15-14 West Scranton lead. But the Bucks came right back after gaining possession. Dave Silvestrini on the 17-yard scoring run. Dunmore opens 35-21 winners over West Scranton. At Lackawanna County Stadium, Scranton Prep had a 14-7 halftime lead on Dunmore, but the Bucks got the third period scoring toss from Jack Dempsey to Scott Hartshorn. This game was tied at 14. Late in the fourth period, Dunmore caps a 28-yard drive with a short run over the right side by Dave Silvestrini. That made it 21-14. The Bucks' Al Fitch would then come up with two game-saving interceptions in the final 4 minutes to stifle the Cavaliers. Dunmore down Scranton Prep 21-14 tonight in Big 11 high school football action. In game number 3, Dunmore led by a touchdown in the third, but lost all-star Dave Silvestrini to a leg injury and then lost momentum. Scott Wasilchak intercepts at the goal line to end the Dunmore threat. That also kicked off a 96-yard touchdown drive capped by Russell Canavery's nifty 33-yard scoring run. The Cougars would tie Dunmore at 14. Canterbury then turned on the Valley View crowd moments later, fielding this punt at his own 39-yard line. He dances his way 51 yards. He was dragged down at the 10. It set up a 1-yard blast by Canterbury. It was 20-14 Cougars. After a Dunmore fumble late in the ball game, George Hawanitz would put the lid on this one for Valley View. With a 7-yard score on the keeper, the Cougars go to 3-0, handing Dunmore their first loss, 26-20. Game number 1 tonight, Towanda took the opening kickoff, got to the Dunmore 33-yard line thanks to this run around the right side by Kirby Ellis. A 38-yard gainer on the carry. The drive, however, would break down. Dunmore put together an 11-play drive to get their first touchdown tonight. Jack Dempsey's pass is deflected, but Tom Ralicky still makes the grab for a 19-yard gain in the march. Dave Silvestrini then gets scoring honors off the pitch as Dunmore goes on to down Towanda 34-7. North Pocono and Dunmore were tied at 7 at halftime, but the Trojans broke the deadlock on the keeper by B.J. Gallus with 3:52 left in the third. It was 14-7. It looked as though the Trojans had sealed the victory late in the fourth period on this interception at the North Pocono 40, but a penalty wiped out the turnover and allowed Dunmore to keep alive a drive that began on their own 7. 3 times in that march they would convert on third down and once on fourth down, but with just over a minute to go, the Trojans defense came up with a stomp on a 4th and 2 play at their own 35. North Pocono stays unbeaten 14-7 over Dunmore. In game number 3, Berwick put together scoring drives of 60, 68, and 72 yards in downing Dunmore. They also rolled up 420 yards in total offense and gained 22 first downs. The Bucks, who fell to 4-3, played without all-scholastic back Dave Silvestrini, who was up with a thigh injury. The victory was the 6th of the year against 2 losses for the Bulldogs.
At Dunmore, it was the Dave Silvestrini show. Just before the half, the senior back starts a drive with his 25-yard carry to the Buck 45. 6 plays later, Silvestrini's 7th consecutive carry takes the Bucks to the Red Raider 8. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Silvestrini caps off a 9-carry, 75-yard drive with this 4-yard TD at Gatto Stadium.
In game number 1 tonight, Dunmore drove 61 yards in their first possession against Riverside. Dave Silvestrini had 52 of the yards in the march, and he also had the touchdown. It came with 7 minutes left in the first quarter as Dunmore goes on to shut out Riverside 28-0. With 3 losses, critics claimed the Sugar Bowl settled for less when Notre Dame was chosen to go against 5th-ranked Florida. Dunmore's Tim Ruddy, an offensive lineman for the Fighting Irish, says the team felt they had to regain respect on New Year's Day.
I think we felt we had something to prove. Hawaii, we didn't really play the best. Offensively, we scored 48 points. But we also, gave up 42. I think we were trying to show, that we still were one of the top teams. That we just, maybe had a bad game or a few quarters.
It was not a good first half for the Irish at the Sugar Bowl, outgained by almost 300 yards, but still on the scoreboard, very much in the ball game, going into the locker room at halftime.
We got down early, so we had to throw the ball a bit, just to stay in it, to stay close. And then once we got in halftime, we were staying close with them, so we tried going back to the ground game, which we felt was our our strong suit.
Then came a big fourth quarter. 3 touchdowns by Jerome Bettis would give the Irish the lead and enable them to hold off Florida to gain an exciting 39-28 victory.
Everybody was really wanted to score because we were right then it was neck and neck. People we scored, they scored, we scored. What they tried to do, I think they tried to bring the whole defense up onto the line. So we just kind of ran the ball right at him, and once Jerome broke through, it was pretty much clear sailing to the end zone.
Now Tim Ruddy looks toward his junior year at Notre Dame with an eye on a starting position. And we'll have more with Tim tonight at 11 o'clock. Sid Michaels, Eyewitness Sports. Although he was satisfied with his playing time his first 2 years at Notre Dame, Dunmore's Tim Ruddy still spent a good amount of time waiting, watching, and learning on the sideline. He learned about the game, and he learned about himself.
I got to see a lot better players. Last year, it was pretty much spot play. This year, when I got in, I got to play some of the best players in the country. You realize, the variety and the amount of talent that's out there.
When he did get in, he saw action at both guard and center, and it was against some pretty good competition.
With most teams, most players, we can match up physically, but the concentration, the intensity really has to be high that week. I mean, one minor screw-up could really, be the difference between winning and a loss.
Playing a schedule the caliber of a Notre Dame takes players over the entire United States. California, Hawaii, New Orleans. But still, with all the travel and all the time spent with football, Tim has been able to maintain a 3.8 average in a tough mechanical engineering curriculum.
It boils down to discipline. I mean, you have to set aside the time to get the work done, and then, of course, you have the time when you're going to be on the road or away. So really, there's some late nights and there's some times when you're pretty tired, but you just got to stick with it.
While at Dunmore, Tim Ruddy excelled in both the classroom with a perfect average and on the field as an all-stater. Now he's ready to come into his own at a higher level and follow that same pattern at Notre Dame. Sid Michaels, Eyewitness Sports.
Game 2, Bishop O'Hara at Dunmore. Gary Simpson comes through with a brilliant block down low on defense, but Simpson was injured on the play. He had to leave the basketball game after being down on the floor for quite some time. The Bruins of Bishop O'Hara cut a 5-point deficit to 2, and Brian Boutash hits the 3-point shot to give his club the lift. But the Bucks of Dunmore pushed it back out to 4 when Nick Polito hits the baseline jump shot on another big night of local high school basketball. At Dunmore, Bishop Hannan was trying to come back from their first loss. Mike Rickard drives, scores, gets fouled on the play. The Lancers led it by 3 in the third quarter. But the Bucks of Dunmore came on strong later in the quarter. The long pass to Tom Dempsey. He double pumps and puts it in off the glass for 2. Then Nick Polito of Dunmore, the nice look underneath the Todd Hartshorn. The Bucks go on to down Bishop Hannan tonight. The final 64-51.
Tara Macciocco of Dunmore is much like any other high school basketball player, with one exception. When the games are over, or when practice ends, she doesn't escape the watchful eye of her coach. He happens to be her father.
He'll sit me down and he'll put the tape in of the game, and we'll go over things that happened in the game, and he helps a lot, like tell me what I'm doing and stuff.
Even though we don't try to make it a major issue, we still talk about things at home, so it's that constant communication that we have with each other that puts more pressure on her.
Tara wasn't even in kindergarten when she first picked up a basketball, and she was barely in junior high when fans were talking about the day that she would play for her father.
He helped me throughout my years at junior high basketball. I was always in here practicing with the varsity team, so I wanted to play for him. I was happy when I got up here and was able to start as a freshman.
It's a fine line that Ross Macciocco has to walk as Tara's father and as coach of this Lady Bucks basketball team. There are times when he has to be careful he isn't too tough on his daughter, but yet other times when he can't favor her either.
He treats everybody the same. It's just the fans sometimes think that he treats me different, but he doesn't. He treats everybody equally.
I've been very fortunate in having some great players that have gone through my system, and I've been fortunate enough to win at different levels, but the most satisfying thing for me is to see her go out and perform well.
For several years now, girls basketball at Dunmore has been successful and special. And now it's even more special with Tara joining her father as a part of the show. Sid Michaels, Eyewitness Sports.
Game one tonight, Dunmore and GAR. Tara Macciocco of Dunmore hit 10 three-point shots in this game, and this one gave her club the 21-point lead. GAR hustled all night long for points, but got two here on this follow-up basket by Shonda Harris. But when it was over, Dunmore had advanced to further competition.
Game number one, double-A action. GAR and Dunmore tied at 4, but then the Bucks break out. Tom Dempsey, an ice move. He hits the scoop shot. Dunmore would go on a 16-0 run. During that streak, the Bucks used the transition game to perfection. Nick Polito, the long pass down court, he turns it into 2. The score was 20-4. GAR would get back into it in the second period. The lob to Damian Preston. He scores. He's fouled on the play. It's a three-point play. And then later, inside second and third effort for GAR, Mark Radishevsky will get the score, but Dunmore gets the win, 57-35.
Game one tonight, Wilkes University, Northwest area, and Dunmore. The Rangers go on an 11-2 run early to take the lead as Brian Wisniewski finds Dave Staggerwall for 2. Then Mike Hardiman comes right back and buries the shot from beyond the three-point line before a packed house. The Bucks of Dunmore on offense take over as hot-shooting Tom Dempsey goes to work, and he counters that shot with this three-point shot. Dempsey continues the Dunmore offense as he drives the baseline and hits the tough shot in traffic. But the Rangers of Northwest area come back tonight to win the AA championship, downing the Bucks of Dunmore 63-58. Game two. We pick up the action in the 400-meter boys race, and Dave Podell of Dallas won the race in 51.9. Rob Moore of Meyers was second. Mike Bonifort of Lehman High School came in third. Julia Levera of Hanover area was absolutely brilliant today. This 400-meter championship was one of 4 she won. Her time in this event was 59.5. Jan Richardson of Wallenpaupack area was second. Amy Mayer of Riverside came in third. Brian Dominic, Mike Shamansky, George Howanitz, and Scott Wasilchek of Valley View won the 400-meter relay in 44.3. Dunmore was second. Dallas came in third. The Valley View girls duplicated that effort in their 400-meter run. Nicole Remick, Janet O'Leary, Daniela Muschel, and Michelle Cunningham won it with a time at 51.4. In the boys' 800-meter run, Eric McDonough of Bishop Hoban High School won the race in 2 minutes, 1.610 seconds. Ryan O'Hara of Valley View was second. Jason Gilbert of Wallenpaupack area came in third. In the 800-meter girls event, Allison West of Lakeland won the race in 2 minutes, 27.2. Lauren Suma of Dunmore was second. Becky Bogdan of Hanover area came in third. In the 200-meter boys run, Mike Shamansky of Valley View took first place honors with 23 seconds flat. Scott Wasilchek of Valley View was second. Dave Podell of Dallas High School came in third. And in the 200-meter girls race, Julia Levera of Hanover area won her 4th District 2 championship and set her second record with a time of 25.5. Janet O'Leary of Valley View was second, and Shara of Dallas came in third.
Great. Just best feelings I ever had. Taking 4 district titles.
And you got 2 records in the process, so that must please you as well.
Yeah, I'm really happy about that.
The AAA Boys and Girls Championship Track and Field meet is scheduled for this coming Thursday, again at Memorial Stadium in Wilkes-Barre.
Ricky